Hey guys, Core Ross and Rainbow Six News. So today I'm breaking down the brand new sights coming to Rainbow Six Siege with the Shadow Legacy season. I know that the subject has been really complicated, so I thought I would break it down into much more digestible information that we can actually go over in this video. And the first thing I thought I'd break down is Magnification, because of course we've got our 1x's, which is like holographics and such. Then we've got our new 1.5, our new 2.0, our new 2.5, and our new 3.0. And there's some big and small differences between all these magnifications, so I want to break it down in a nice visual. So this is us actually standing in a corridor, not ADSing at all, so we're just simply standing there looking, no aim, and we can see we got a character at the end of the corridor. So if we actually go up to a 1x, so this is a holographic here, and you can see that this is what a 1x looks like and the difference in magnification. Then if we go from 1x to 1.5, then suddenly there's a huge difference. This zooms in massively compared to the previous one, and we get a lot better visuals on the enemy at the end of the corridor there. Then we can push it up to the 2.0, and this again pushes us in even more, but it's a smaller difference than what we had previously from the 1.0 to the 1.5. Then if we push that even more, we go up to the 2.5, and this gives us a even better view of the guy at the end of the corridor. And then finally we have our 3x scope that brings us into the maximum magnification for customizable sights in Siege. Of course, there's some special sights out there that are more magnified, but this is the only one you can take off and on your weapon. And then let's actually zoom right out and take a look at these. So this is us zoomed right out. Of course, we've got the 3.0 right there right now. And then of course, this is the 2.5, the 2.0 and the 1.5, and then back to our holos. And of course, full screen is actually just no ADS whatsoever, normal view. Now I will say normal view is dependent on field of view, resolution, aspect ratio, all that. So, that does change things, but they've made it so the magnifications don't actually change per setting now. So you also have the same magnification as someone else, might just be that you have a bigger field of view on top of it. But yeah, this is a perfect representation of the different magnifications in Siege coming with the new season. And the big takeaway is, of course, that a 1.0 and a 1.5 might sound very close together, but there's a massive difference in actual zoom for that. Like, it is a huge difference from the 1.0 to the 1.5, whereas 1.5 to 2.0 is actually quite small. And you can also see that magnifications above that go up at a small rate as well. So if someone ever tells you that a 1.0 and a 1.5 are very similar, make sure they come and watch this video. And the kind of thing to think about here is that when we're playing Siege, we're not usually doing long engagements, especially like this example with the guy at the end of the corridor. We're not usually in a fight that's that long, at least not for very long. And most fights could easily be half of this distance. So I think the perfect magnification for a site in Rainbow Six Siege is actually the 1.5. If not, then I would say it's a 2.0. I actually think 2.5 and 3.0 are kind of too zoomed in for Siege's gameplay. And of course, 1.0 is better than nothing, but I don't think it's as good as a 1.5. But it comes down to personal preference. So let's actually take a look at all the different sites that are coming in the new season, along with the ones we already have. And these are all the sites you can take on and off guns. But in total, we have 14 sites to choose from when customizing our operators. Now, thankfully, we don't have 14 sites per gun, but I guess some people might actually prefer that. So we actually have a limited selection per gun, and the developers have put together some really nice artwork that must have taken someone a lot of time to actually do, and it breaks down each weapon really, really well. But it does one thing badly, and that is it makes it look like it's freaking complicated. It makes it look like you're going to need a spreadsheet to figure out who has what sight to put on what gun. But you're not going to need that. Like when Shadow Legacy launches, everything's going to switch over automatically. So if you had an ACOG and there's now a 2x, you're going to have a 2x. If you had an ACOG and there's now a 1.5, you're going to have 1.5. And then as you play, you're just going to customize as you go. There's not going to be like an hour sitting there going through every single operator, customizing the weapons. It's just going to be a smooth transition. Now, I know there's going to be a lot of people out there right now who are saying, why can't I just pick from any of the 1x sites? Because they're all pretty much the same and all just comes down to personal preference. There's not really OP version of the 1x. They're all relatively similar. So why not let me just use them on any weapon? Well, the developers have been listening to you, and this is actually addressed on the Logic Bomb podcast. It's the one where they actually have one of the devs in and they're interviewing them. And he reveals that The 1Xs are not really seen as a balancing tool because they're all pretty much the same, and they have been thinking about possibly putting them on all weapons so that you can actually pick all of the 1Xs, potentially. But there is something that's going on behind the scenes, and that is there's a whole new system in place for the scopes and the sights. And that is that they used to be rendered on the weapon themselves, and that was how they worked. But now they are actually, and this is kind of cool, they are rendered as part of the HUD. So they're actually part of the HUD element, and that way that's what gives them the ability apparently to go for colored reticles and stuff like that, making them customizable. So yeah, this is them basically bringing a whole new system. Of course, to us it looks like they've just thrown in a whole bunch of new sights, but the whole sight system has actually been entirely reworked. And that means they're slowly kind of tweaking stuff and getting stuff right. As we've seen on the test server, they've been improving reticles, they've been doing these little improvements here and there, and there's still a few things that are slightly off, but they are making good progress. So it could be that they let these kind of sights settle in their current kind of positions on operators, and then maybe at mid-season they start adding more stuff in. Maybe next season they'll go, you know what, here's all the 1Xs on any gun you want, have fun with it. Because they can literally do that if they want, and they are thinking about it. So that is a potential for the future. Now there's a few other tidbits of information I'd like to throw at you. So first of all, it's the old ACOG. So this old ACOG in-game said it was a 2.5. Apparently, it was lying, and it was actually a 3.0 all the frickin' time. So the old ACOG is actually a 3.0, and it is going to be a 2.5, even though in-game previously it said it was a 2.5, and visual evidence on the screen of that. We've also got some changes. So the old holographic looks a little bit different on the test server for Shadow Legacy. You can see the old one on the left and the new one on the right. And you'll notice the new one in the little window you look through is actually a little bit smaller because the bottom of it has been fattened up. Now this might just be part of the new system and they might change it in the future, but for right now that is slightly different from the old one. Anyway guys, that's my breakdown of the brand new sights coming to Rainbow Six Siege with Shadow Legacy. I do expect a lot of changes over time to happen, and a lot of these sights to kind of move around different operators. The more magnified ones will be used as balancing tools, so they're not just there to give us more variety, and I do expect the 1.5 might become one of the most picked sights, but I'd love to know what you guys are actually thinking when it comes to your personal choice, because for instance, I love the new holographic. It's a real chunky boy. It really gets in the way, but for some reason I really like using it. And then on the opposite scale, the old Russian reflex is one of my favorites, and I would love that on more guns. And you know, if we one day get all 1Xs on all guns, that would be nice. Anyway guys, yeah, let me know what you think of these new sights. Let me know what's your favorite, and I will catch you next time.